Female genital mutilation is a crime. It is a crime against humanity. It is a crime against the human body. I was 7 years old. I grew up in the western parts of Nigeria. And in that part of Nigeria, it is cultural that the female children are caught at a certain age, especially between the ages of 2 and 5. And I was not an exception.
I don't want to do this.
You don't have a choice.
Even though I later became a city girl, the deed had been done. I had been caught, circumcised, so that I do not become wayward and promiscuous. This would later affect not only my sexual life, but my reproductive health. When I grew up and realized the damage that had been done to me, unfortunately, we could not undo it. I had become a victim of female genital mutilation. I had also become exposed to infections because that cut also meant that I was now susceptible to being infected with either sexually transmitted diseases or toilet infections or other urinary infections. This is different from the fact that I was also a victim of sexual abuse at the age of 10. At 10, I was raped, and it was the most painful experience I can think of or remember. This also went on with being sexually molested for several years by my foster father, and this meant that this sex that would no longer be enjoyable because I had been circumcised was also something that I was subjected to for several years. By the time I realized that I have been a victim of female genital mutilation, I didn't know what it was before then. I just knew that at a certain age, between the ages of 2 and 5, our mothers gathered us, especially the girls, and in tears, they would open us up and cut off something from our private area. Over the years, from time to time, I sit down to think, could my life have been sexually better if I had my genitals complete? Would I have been a better wife or a happier woman in bed if I had my genitals complete? Would it have been better for me not to have to treat one urinary infection from time to time if my genitals were not tampered with? These and more are some of the realities and questions that I grapple with, not really knowing the answer. And so, psychologically, emotionally, I have become affected. Other times when I'm in a room filled with women, I'm wondering, am I the only one who is dealing with this? Or are there other women like me who have been caught, but still do not know what name it is called, or the effects of that damage to their entire being? Also, it is still a sad reality that now that I am married and we had to deal with trusting for children in the marriage, it still takes my mind back that perhaps some of the infections that happened with the unclean utensils that were used for that circumcision could have been responsible for the infections that had led to infertility. Whether that would be true or not, I may never be able to tell. The culture of silence, where we are made to go through pain but not talk about it. Just like being a victim of sexual abuse, female genital mutilation is also an abusive practice that thrives in silence. And so I began to find my voice. and I began to speak, knowing that there are other people going through this menace in silence. More importantly, knowing that there are still communities who still practice this dastardly act that has even led to women battling with vaginal fistula infections and even other deadlier infections that has arisen from female genital mutilation. Survivors of FGM are your sisters, your neighbors, and your friend. You can support them by helping them when they speak up, because it is a big deal. Encourage them to break the silence. Dear FGM survivors, you are not alone. There are many of us, but you're stronger than you think. You may have lost something you may never get back again, but you can thrive regardless. Find your voice. Speak up against FGM. Join policymakers. Join NGOs that raise their voices against female genital mutilation and become a voice of change and a voice of transformation for the next girl child.